What's up, everybody? On today's show, the latest news going on around the conference ahead of SEC Week 9. Tennessee at Kentucky, Mississippi State at Auburn, Georgia versus Florida, some big matchups this week. And ESPN ranked their top 50 newcomers from transfers to freshmen across college football. We'll run through the SEC guys who made the list. Locked On SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. It's great to have you guys along. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs is helping you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Go post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. Terms and conditions apply. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Let's jump into it. Let's go around the conference.
Boots out to the right. Takes the handoff. What a catch!
Around the conference.
We start over Kentucky as Mark Stoops and his crew, they are preparing for the Tennessee Volunteers who will be coming to Lexington this weekend. Vols have won 2 straight over Kentucky, but this one figures to be a pretty close one. The Vols offense took a little bit of a step back from last season, and they're just coming off of their loss at Alabama this past weekend with quarterback Joe Milton not having the best of seasons so far. Mark Stoops was asked about the Vol offense. He said, look, they do a great job. You just look at it maybe with a defensive background. Balance is key. They're pretty darn balanced. The rush to the pass, very balanced. Joe Milton playing at a very high level. He's an experienced guy. He's been around. They always have dynamic playmakers. Their running backs probably don't get talked about enough, but all those players very talented and dangerous when they get to the second, third level. So they always keep you off balance, and that is key. Over at Tennessee, Josh Heupel and the Vols looking to get back in the win column after their 34-20 loss at Alabama. Josh Heupel asked about the lessons learned in some of these tough struggles. He said the lessons always got to move forward with you as a program, as players, as coaches. You got to continue to improve, put yourself as players and coaches in the best situation to get better over the course of the season. I just think for us as a staff, consistency is really important. The things that you say matter when you're winning, and they're the same. As a competitor, you got to move on. A lot of football left for us to play. Tennessee at Kentucky, 7 p.m. Eastern Saturday night, will be televised on ESPN. And you got to think that whoever loses this game going to fall to 5-3 and will not be in contention for the top 2 teams in the SEC East. Best you could do is, third or fourth? So we will see. Over at Florida, they're getting ready for their rivalry game between the Gators and the Bulldogs over in Jacksonville. Georgia has dominated the rivalry in recent years, winning 5 of the last 6. Bulldogs have won the last 2. Florida did win the 2020 game, but Billy Napier talking with the media this week about what the rivalry means. He said, if you're the head coach of the University of Florida, there's a lot of games that are important, certainly some more than others to people that have history here. I think ultimately this game, we have history with a lot of teams, but this one with the states bordering each other, the history and tradition behind the game, our fan bases have to live with each other to some degree. It's what makes college football so fun. Florida has gained some momentum in recent weeks, winning their last 2 games, coming off the bye week. Gators looking to pull the upset. Now, Billy Napier on Wednesday assessed Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. He said, I see a very talented athlete and passer. I think he's obviously been there a number of years. He's gotten really comfortable in their system. He's got arm talent, very accurate, certainly done a nice job making some plays with his feet, and he gets better every week. I think as he gains more experience, gets more comfortable, you see his confidence growing. Got a really good group of players around him, so he's played well. You can see why he was one of the best quarterbacks in the country coming out of high school. Now, on the Georgia side of things, Kirby Smart saying, or talking about his team, and Amarius Mims expected to make his return from a tightrope surgery earlier this season. And Kirby trying to decide, should he plug him right in? Amarius Mims, Xavier Truss, Monroe Freeling, who will start at right tackle. Kirby said, look, the person who can play the best and function the best and give us the best chance to win, that's who's going to play Saturday. It's the same answer. The one who gives us the best chance to win, it's just the same as quarterback, same as running backs, DBs, the guys who give us the best chance to be successful. Mims is a veteran for the Bulldogs, playing his third season there. As far as his veteran leadership, Kirby Smart said, look, chemistry. Chemistry is what matters. I mean, Mims has been part of our program for 3 years. He's played with the O-line, those same guys last year a ton, started them last year. He's played a lot this year. He's moved around, played left and right. Chemistry is not a factor in the decision in who plays. It's who gives us the best chance to win. So we'll see what happens there on that O-line for Georgia going into this one. Kirby Smart also addressing Austin Armstrong, Florida's defensive coordinator. He was a member of Kirby's staff at Georgia back in 2019, working as a quality control coach. Kirby saying Austin comes from a really good defensive background, pedigree, lineage before he came to us. Part of the reason we brought him with us is that he had ties to a lot of similar schemes that we had run and knew he would be an asset in terms of knowledge, experience, maybe bring something to the table for us that might be different from an outside-the-box thinking. So it's a great experience having him here. He's an energetic young coach. And we'll see what Austin Armstrong is able to do against his former team. And one more Georgia note. Defensive end Darius Smith, no longer a member of the Georgia football team. Kirby Smart announcing the departure of the second-year edge rusher Tuesday after practice. He didn't offer any further details on the situation. Smith missed recent games for undisclosed reasons. Played in 5 games this year, had 3 tackles and a pass breakup. Last year, he made 11 appearances. But, of course, number 1 Georgia facing Florida in Jacksonville on Saturday, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Can we not call it that anymore? I don't know. Can't keep up. But 3:30 Eastern on CBS. And one more note here. Steve Spurrier talking about this game this week. Of course, Billy Napier had the head ball coach in this week to speak to the team about what it takes to beat Georgia. Spurrier went 15-5 against the Bulldogs in his time at Florida and South Carolina. Appearing on a radio show this week, Spurrier said, look, if we're to beat them, we got to play the entire game and play well. I think we're certainly capable of doing that. Spurrier said Florida's win over South Carolina may have given them a little confidence. He said, I'm going to pick our Gators in a big upset this week. We went over there, South Carolina, with confidence, but we knew we had to play well. There's a difference between confidence and cockiness. Cockiness means we're just going to show up and kick your tail. But confidence is if we play our best, we should be able to win. And we should. Wins are not guaranteed unless you go out there and earn them. And the final clock ticks 0. Spurrier also said Florida still has plenty to play for in the SEC East. He said, I believe our team will go over there with some confidence that we're capable of beating Georgia. And if we play very well, and if we do, we certainly have a chance to win this game. I think this team has a chance. Got a chance to beat Georgia. And if we do that, we're right in the middle of winning the Eastern Division. Long way to go, but as long as you only have that one conference loss, and it's not to Georgia, you are in the hunt. There you have it. That's Steve Spurrier sharing his thoughts on the annual Florida-Georgia rivalry game. We'll get to more tidbits going on around the conference in just a second, but thank you guys so much for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Coming up next, we'll hit more tidbits going on around the conference. And I want to remind you guys this episode is presented to you by friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks, the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way for you to play daily fantasy sports. It is just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is the most fun you will have, up to 25 times your money this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and you place your entry. Testing your skills on PrizePicks this football season, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you got the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Go check them out right now. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. Use our promo code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. You can download the app. Super easy to use. Again, use our promo code LockedOnCollege when you sign up. And go check them out. PrizePicks. It is daily fantasy sports made easy. This episode also presented to you by our friends at LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. Look, it is almost the holiday season. Some of you may be hiring seasonally. Some of you may just be hiring new spots for the new year. You want to be 100% certain you got access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you got to go check out LinkedIn Jobs. They're going to help you find the right people for your team faster and for free. You just go to their website, you upload your posting, you let people know that you are hiring, and they got simple tools like screening questions. Make it easy for you to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can figure out who you want to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helping you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Go post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Go post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Going along here, Locked On SEC. We got more tidbits to get to going on around the conference. Thank you guys for making us your first listen every day. Shout out to our everydayers coming back and checking us out each and every day. I want to remind you guys that on Fridays, we have our Locked On College Football live show. I'm not on there, but it's a group of our other Locked On College experts, and they're breaking down all the biggest games of the college football weekend. We're talking all just SEC here. They're talking big picture college football. So if you're interested in that, check that out on our Locked On College Football YouTube channels, wherever you find your favorite Locked On show, including right here on Locked On SEC. All right, let's dive back into it. We got plenty more to get into as we were circling around the conference with the latest news and tidbits. And let's jump over to Starkville as Mississippi State. Zach Arnett just gushing over Auburn this week, talking about them ahead of their big game this weekend. Zach Arnett saying that this Auburn team, yeah, they've lost 4 straight, but they're still plenty capable. He said Wednesday, can't say enough good things about Auburn and what Coach Hugh Freeze is building there right now. You could see it on film. They're physical, athletic, and you could tell they like to play. They have a few players I highlighted, admire the way they play the game. Jarquez Hunter at running back, Eugene Asante on defense. You could tell they're building something over there. They got really talented players who get excited to play and fly around. It's going to be a physical matchup. We got to make sure we put in the work to show up ready to go and match their physicality and intensity with which they play. Arnett said he sees the effort Auburn is putting in. He believes their offense could give them some problems. He said they do a lot of things really well. Their ability to get in 10 personnel formations and empty sets. And then the very next play, they don't even have to change personnel. They can be at 14, set up with a couple of tight ends in there, play smash mouth physical football. They use the dual threat quarterback system. Arnett said both guys are incredibly athletic, very dangerous runners. So no matter who's in the game, you got to be prepared for that. You see some plays more for one than the other, but they're physical, they're athletic, and they can stress you in a lot of ways. He said, more importantly for us, we got to show up ready to match their physicality and their intensity. Mississippi State certainly did that a week ago with their defense, winning a 7-3 football game over in Fayetteville over Arkansas. Auburn currently on that 4-game losing streak. We'll see if they can turn things around. Tigers' 3rd straight loss or win over Arkansas last week for the Bulldogs, looking to make a win over Auburn this week. Now, as for Auburn, despite that 4-game losing streak, players staying positive, according to head coach Hugh Freeze. Tigers did not win a game since week 3 when they played Samford, but still plenty of games to go here. And Hugh Freeze saying, I talked to our team this week. We do life talks, and it was all about all of us face at some point or another closed doors or unmet expectations. Never going away in life. How we handle them, I think, will really determine how we get through them and the challenge and temptation that most people have when they have an unmet expectation or a closed door. They become disengaged and therefore just don't get better. And my challenge to our team and our staff this week has been, let's just get 1% better. Clear fog, play free. And I thought we had one of our better practices this week. Freeze hoping Auburn can get back in the win column. Their remaining schedule, look, they get Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, UMass before closing the season out against Alabama. So some wins on the table for Auburn. Let's see if they can capitalize. Over at Arkansas, Sam Pittman expressing his confidence in his new interim OC, Kenny Guyton, taking over for the departed Dan Enos. On Wednesday, Sam Pittman said, I think Kenny's ready. He obviously knows the offense. He's more knowledgeable than even what I thought in the run game. Obviously, I've been in every meeting. I stepped out of the one that I was in to talk to y'all, but I'll go right back at it and trying to help in every aspect I can with the run game. We lost our spirit on offense, and we got to get that back. I think Kenny has a great rapport with our kids, very knowledgeable. Kids believe in him, and that'll make us play better right then and there. So more importantly, Kenny believes that he's ready for it, and the players believe he's ready for it. So I think it's been, go back to Auburn last year, Cadillac going and him becoming the head coach. Obviously, they beat A&M then, but excited to see what Kenny Guyton can do. He's been with Arkansas since 2021 as their wide receivers coach. Sam Pittman also expressing why he went with Derek Keefe as his wide receivers coach. He said he's a mature guy, good relationship with the kids, knows the offense, knows the terminology. I think anytime you make a change in season, the biggest thing is the terminology for the kids stays the same. Derek played in that system, also had obviously been an analyst in that system, so it's an easy choice to make that transition. Derek Keefe had previous experience coaching wide receivers at Towson, a former Alabama wide receiver. He worked with Arkansas's quality control team. Arkansas with a bye week, and then will attempt to snap that 6-game losing streak coming up on November 4th against Florida. And how different will the offense look with Dan Enos no longer the OC? Over at Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher talking with the media this week and talking about that improved pass rush this year under defense coordinator DJ Durkin. The Aggies lead the SEC 29 sacks on the year. D-line has been so improved this year. Jimbo Fisher saying it is huge. Got to affect the quarterback. Today's game is about the quarterback, the way teams spread, quarterbacks can run, the way they throw the football, how talented these young men are. I mean, everybody's got guys who can do it. And when you can affect the quarterback, it gives your defense ways to get off the field on third down. But the ability to pressure guys and to hit guys and tackle guys and sack guys, it has an effect on their consistency and accuracy at the game as the game goes on. It's a huge part why we're having so much success on defense. Aggies face off against South Carolina this Saturday morning, looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. As for South Carolina, Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks preparing for A&M, and Shane Beamer talking about quarterback Max Johnson, former starting quarterback at LSU, and Shane Beamer saying he's not a backup quarterback. So Johnson came to College Station showing what a capable quarterback he is now. Since he's gotten the opportunity to start after the injury to Connor Wegman, really impressed with Max and his toughness, sitting in the pocket. He's taking some shots when he sits in there, takes the hit, delivers the throw. Says he has a lot of respect for Max Johnson and his family. He said, I got to know his brother Jake and the family were recruiting him as a tight end when I was at Oklahoma. Think the world of their family. Really impressed with what Max has been doing. The Aggies are 4-3. The Gamecocks 2-5. Again, 11 a.m. Central on ESPN this Saturday. Some other teams on their bye weeks. Mizzou, Eli Drinkwitz. The Tigers sit at 7-1 on the season. Eli Drinkwitz asked this week what his favorite thing is about this team. He said, I just love coaching these guys. They got a great spirit about them, have the right attitude, have positive energy. They're really attentive to details. They're gritty. They're consistent on a day-to-day basis. I think it's been a lot of fun to be around. But he said not only our captains, we've got an exceptional group with our seniors, but the level of commitment that those guys have made to self-improvement and growing and just physically, it's become very contagious around here. He went on to say, I think our young guys have bought in. They see how guys like Darius Robinson, Cody Schrader, Javon Foster, Tyron Hopper have all bought into the Elite Edge program, and they're trying to emulate that. And that's helped us be successful. Mizzou, of course, on a bye, but they will face off against Georgia next week in Athens. A monster game for them, and very well could decide the SEC East if Mizzou can pull off a big upset. Of course, we've got to see what Florida does first this week against Georgia. If they pull off the upset, all hell breaks loose. But Bulldogs, they'll be without Brock Bowers for at least a couple of weeks, and Eli Drinkwitz was asked about that this week. He said, look, it's the same thing I've seen every year since I've been here. Georgia's a talented team. They got elite coaches, elite players. They believe in their scheme. They don't beat themselves. They play physical. They play tough. Coach Smart has done an excellent job throughout the program, and they're a really, really good football team. Georgia leads that all-time series 11-1 against Mizzou with 9 straight victories. Of course, Mizzou gave them a dogfight last year, had a chance to win that one, but let it slip away there in the fourth quarter. Some other tidbits from some of the bye week teams. Alabama, Kool-Aid McKinstry not having the same success on punt returns this year as he did a year ago. Nick Saban talked about it this week. He said, Kool-Aid's done a great job for us back there. I think a lot of people are kicking the ball away from him because we had a lot of success on punt returns last year. So he's had a lot of difficult balls to field. They're just not kicking the ball to him most of the time. McKinstry had a couple of miscues that cost Alabama against Tennessee on Saturday. Saban said, I do think everybody got all concerned about this. There were 2 balls in the game. One he could have caught, probably would have been a tough catch. And the last one went down to the 1 yard line, which was significant. He really just misjudged the ball. These guys, they're rugby punters. The ball doesn't travel exactly like a normal punt. So this ball flew on him a little bit. You can see on film when you watch it, the ball was going to go over his head and he was going to have to catch it outside his body and make a tough catch. And unfortunately for us, it rolled down to the 1 yard line. But Saban said he believes in McKinstry, says they will continue to trust him on punt returns, and we'll see what kind of impact he has down the stretch of this season. And one more on bye week teams. LSU, Brian Kelly updating the media on a couple of his injured players this week. Right tackle Emory Jones went down with an ankle injury week 7 against Auburn. Kelly saying on Wednesday that Jones will be back at practice this week, should be ready to go against Alabama. As for starting cornerback Zy Alexander, he left Saturday's game at Army with a lower leg injury. Kelly said that leg injury will cause him to miss some time. He'll be evaluated over the next couple of weeks. So Zy Alexander, big loss for LSU defensively as they get ready for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And there you have it. That's the latest news going on around the conference. Coming up next, we're going to hit on that ESPN article with some of the top newcomers around college football. We'll hit on the guys that they listed from the SEC. That's coming your way in just a sec. And I want to remind you guys, this episode is presented to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Look, if you guys have not jumped into the action this year yet on the NFL over at FanDuel, what are you waiting on? FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, we've been telling you guys, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That is $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. It's not just NFL. They got college football up there as well. All the action you're looking to get into, what are you waiting for? Go do it. College football season is already in week 9. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action. Of course, the app, super easy to use. You got a wide range of betting options from spreads, player props, over-unders, and much more. Go visit them right now, FanDuel.com/lockedon, and get started with the college football season and NFL season as it churns on. It is FanDuel, and of course, they are the official partner of the NFL. FanDuel.com/lockedon, where you need to go. Run along here, Locked On SEC, and thank you guys for making us your first listen every day. ESPN.com, they dropped an article ranking top 50 newcomers, transfers, and freshmen from the college football season, kind of like a mid-season kind of review, a little bit past the mid-season part of the college football season, but wanted to run through some of the SEC names that they had make the list. So figure we run through some of these guys, and we'll work in backwards fashion. First up, at number 50 on the list, they have Ole Miss defensive back Dejon Anthony, of course, transferred from Liberty over to Ole Miss, and played 24 games over 2 seasons at Liberty, had a couple interceptions. He's played in 7 games for Ole Miss this year. It's 26 tackles, 1 pick, 5 pass breakups. He ranks number 14 among all FBS DBs with a 28% completion percentage allowed. So Dejon Anthony playing very well for the Ole Miss Rebels. Coming in number 48, it's defensive back Josh DeBerry over at Texas A&M. He transferred from Boston College to A&M, and he has played 341 total snaps in his year with the Aggies so far. 7 games played there, and 4th on the team in tackles with 31. 1st on the team with 2 interceptions, and he's allowing 48% completion percentage when he is targeted. So very good DB there for the Aggies. Coming in number 47, it's Graham Mertz over at Florida. Of course, Billy Napier hitting the right buttons when it comes to Graham Mertz. He was a highly ranked recruit out of high school, went to Wisconsin, played the first handful of years there of his career. And this year, Florida, completing 76% of his passes, good for number 3 among all FBS quarterbacks, almost 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns. And one of the more impressive stats from Mertz is that he leads all quarterbacks in off-target percentage, with just 4% of his attempts off target. At this point in the season last year, he completed just 63% of his passes. So Graham Mertz having an incredible year when it comes to throwing the football. Coming in at number 46, Jordan Castell, the Florida Gators DB, an important addition. He's a freshman for Florida and he's played very well. He's the number 10 safety in the class, played in all 7 games for the Gators this year, started 6 of them, and he's second on the team in total tackles with 32. So a nice find there. Another one coming in at number 45, it's offensive tackle Chase Besantis over at Texas A&M. He was the number 61 overall recruit according to ESPN. Number 5 tackle in this class. He's played 345 snaps this season at right tackle. It's allowed 2 sacks through 7 games, but his pass blocking has been pretty good, and he's blown just 1 block in 139 run blocks so far this season. Coming in at number 39, it is Jaheim Thomas, the linebacker over at Arkansas, transferred in from Cincinnati. Season's not going well for Arkansas, but obviously Thomas been a bright spot on that defense. Leads the team in tackles with 74. He's top 15 nationally for tackles, has 6.5 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks. So Jaheim Thomas, one of the bright spots for Arkansas in an otherwise rough year. Coming in at number 33 on ESPN's list, it's freshman linebacker Centurion Perkins over at Ole Miss. A 5-star prospect, was the highest rated prospect in Ole Miss's recruiting class this year. He's played in all 7 games for the Rebels and is tied for 4th on the team in tackles with 29. Has 3 sacks to go with the pass breakup as well. So he has played very well for them. Over at South Carolina, coming in at number 28 on the list, it's defensive back Jalen Kilgore. Was a 3-star recruit coming out of the state of Georgia. And he leads South Carolina in tackles currently with 61. Also has an interception, 4 pass breakups on the year. His 61 tackles ranks 4th among all FBS defensive backs. He has a 90% tackle rate thus far. So Jalen Kilgore been a nice find for Shane Beamer and company defensively. All right, getting into the top 30, we got Trey Harris, wide receiver from Ole Miss, coming in at number 23, transferred in from Louisiana Tech to the Rebels. Was a first-team All-Conference USA player, playing over 31 games there, but he produced immediately for Ole Miss this season. Was banged up a little bit, but tied for number 17 among all receivers in receiving touchdowns with 6. He's 3rd on the team in receiving yards. Trey Harris, good find there for Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels. Coming in at number 19 on this list, it is Logan Diggs, the former Notre Dame running back, transferring to LSU. Played for Brian Kelly there. Last year, rushed for over 800 yards and 4 touchdowns in 12 games with the Irish. This season, playing just 7 games, he has 611 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns in the top 5 among rushers in the SEC. He's number 32 in rushing yards among all FBS backs. And he is having a fantastic year. So Logan Diggs coming in at number 19 on this list. Coming at number 16, it is the former Vanderbilt running back, now Kentucky running back Ray Davis on his 3rd team after starting his career at Temple. But he ranked number 30 last year in NCAA's active career rushing yards. This year, he has flourished. He's number 11 among all FBS running backs in rushing yards with 781. He's number 12 in touchdowns with 8. He's averaging 111 yards per game for the Wildcats and has contributed in a big way in the passing game as well. He leads the team in receiving touchdowns with 5. See what he is able to do this week against Tennessee. And coming in the top 10 on this list, number 6 overall. Again, this is ESPN's article ranking newcomers and top 50 transfers and freshmen this year. It is Alabama freshman safety Caleb Downs. He was ESPN's number 11 overall recruit a year ago, and he has played immediately there at Alabama, and he has contributed. He's played 441 snaps on defense, leads the team in tackles with 63, has 2 interceptions, has a pass breakup and a forced fumble through the first handful of weeks, and has 63 tackles, 4th most on all FBS defensive backs, while really becoming a crucial piece of that Alabama defense. So Caleb Downs, definitely a guy who's having a fantastic year, should be all SEC and all those lists at the end of this year. Let's see what else he can do for Alabama in his freshman season with a handful of games to go. And that is the latest going on around the conference. That was the ESPN article. I encourage you guys to go check it out, ranking all the top newcomers, freshmen, and transfers around college football. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Shout out to our everydayers coming back and checking us out each and every day. We will talk to you guys tomorrow as we give you our SEC Week 9 picks for the weekend. Join us, won't you, right here on Locked On SEC.